Hey, it's Squidly. The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. That's the English interpretation of from the Scott poem by Robert Burns, just implying that sometimes, no matter how well you plan things and how well laid out you have them, things don't go as planned. Things change. So with that in mind, I'm going to lay out part of my plans for this hiking season. This year's hiking agenda is pretty aggressive for me. My son, Handyman, is graduating high school, and instead of going on his high school trip and with all the debauchery that goes on with that thing, he made a decision that he wanted to do something different. And I promised him that if he didn't want to participate in all of that with his class trip, then we would do something pretty big. And so, combined with a couple of his friends and one of his friends' dads, we're going to do a trip out west. We're going to go to Maroon Bells in Colorado, and when my friend Backpacking with Buckley found out about that, he wanted to see if there was any way we could get together and do something. And so I told him that I hadn't been to the Black Hills in 30 years, and I would love to go back to the Black Hills. And he's in South Dakota, so the timing and location is just kind of perfect. And he volunteered to kind of sponsor us on that trip. And so I'm going to be working with him on a trip in the Black Hills in conjunction with that trip to Colorado. This is going to be a pretty long trip, considering all the distance that we're going to travel and travel time included, and also going to Colorado to get acclimated to the elevation before we actually start hiking. So working with all 5 of us that are going to be going to Colorado, we're going to do at least one shakedown hike. May just be short. And even though all of my gear and skills, I think I'm pretty solid on all this, doing the shakedown hike I think is going to be valuable, because one of the things I'm going to try to do on this is cut my pack weight. I don't want to say slash it, because I'm really not, but I do want to cut it to be as low as possible, because I'm going to have a 5-day food carry and still have a few luxury items or amenities in camp that'll make life comfortable once I get there. So trying to balance those things, the comfort on trail, comfort in camp, but really with an emphasis on cutting the weight as much as I can to get there. And so I'll have that shakedown trip, plus I'll probably do a video on what that process is going to look like for me. Once we leave Colorado to go to the Black Hills, it'll just be me, my son, and one of his friends that'll be going to the Black Hills. In addition to the big summer trip, I still have a Pinhoti trip that I want to do this spring, and every spring there's always at least one trip to the Sipsey Wilderness. Love the Sipsey Wilderness. Late summer or early fall, I still want to get in at least one trip to the Smoky Mountains. I have a couple of things in mind that I want to do there, but haven't settled on it, so I'm not going to give it away here. Then, later in the fall, there's a group of YouTubers who are going to be doing a trip on the Pinhoti. It'll be a different one. They've already talked about where they're going. It'll be different from what I have planned for this spring. So I look forward to that trip. And right now, that looks like we're talking about maybe late October, early November. We'll see how that goes. Part of the reason why I'm posting this is to kind of hold myself accountable. If I publish this video and put it out there and make it public, well, it kind of holds my feet to the fire to stick to the trips that I'm kind of planning, what I have in mind. The other part of it is I've recently posted a couple of videos from a campground, an RV campground at Wind Creek State Park here in Alabama, and I don't want anyone to get the idea that I've abandoned hiking and started just doing RV trips. In fact, I'm doing those RV campground videos so that they can be published on the campground's Facebook page, so that it's available to people who are going on the Facebook page and looking for information about their particular campsite. And I lost a number of subscribers after posting the campground videos, because I think people were getting the idea I was becoming an RV channel instead of a backpacking channel, and that's just not true. So that's what I have going for this spring, this summer, and even looking ahead to the fall. Tell me in the comments what you have planned. What are your big trips? And kind of like I do with the Sipsey and Pinhoti because they're so close, what do you do that's close to you that are just quick weekend trips? Tell me that in the comments.